kind of saying, okay, there's some people that seem to be more effective than others. And why is that? Why are some coaches effective and others seem to do stuff, but the stuff doesn't seem to land? So just imagine all the groups that you do, because we all kind of put it in a group situation. And if I ask a coach, are you a good coach? Guess what the answer is? Every coach I've ever asked that.
Best ever.
Exactly. I'm good. Like I'm good. So that's a really poor question, because what does that mean? Sometimes what it means is, I have a bunch of people that like me, and it's like, well, is that really a good measure? Because all those people like you for a reason, so they gather around you. The people that I needed to ask was all the people who don't want to take lessons from you. So basically, the people that you have gathered around you are just all the people that tolerate your crap. That's who they are. But what about the other ones? We don't get a chance to talk to them. Or some people say, oh, good. I've created X number of champions or players. It's like, that's got some validity if you have a consistent track record, right? If it's just been one, maybe it was just randomness that you happened to luck into some people that were going to be okay and you just didn't get in their way. So is that really a measure? And the other thing is that doesn't measure all the groups and the people that you do. So one of the things that I'll mention as I go along is talking about effectiveness in terms of transformation. How much are you transforming them? So, some of our kids that play tournaments, if you looked at them, you'd go, well, that kid's not very good. And it's like, hey, if you had them, they wouldn't even be playing tennis. And, by the way, they've transformed from way below zero to actually adequate players. We have people on our board that we know that got college scholarships that had no right playing tennis. Now, they got a low-level scholarship, so like, that's not so great. But the fact is, the transformation was big. So, what does it mean, again, to be effective? So, if I ask the question, what's your job as a tennis coach? You don't have to answer it. Just think about it in your head. And we had a little bit of that with Larry's thing. If we sort of get the idea, well, my job as a tennis coach is to teach people tennis, right away I'm going to say that's going to put you down the ineffective path. Right away you're going to be in the ineffective path if you go, my job is to teach tennis. And you'll see some of the elements. That was at the Australian Grand Slam Coaches Conference. As I said to Larry, these 30-minute things are tough. I had to do those in Australia. I was a keynote speaker. I had a number of those, plus longer ones. But it's hard. So I do have my little alarm. That's going to happen. So again, what does that mean? So effective is more than good. Effective has some measurement. As a coaching course facilitator, I have to evaluate coaches all the time. I can't just say, Greg, I really like you. Coach 1, here you go. Right? That's not the way it works. It has to be on some measurable standards. It has to be objective. But I did like you too. The end product also is, again, how much is happening in the end product. Effective is about what I'm going to say. I'm putting it into transformation. How much do you change them? How much do you transform them? I've seen people that they'll come for their lesson every week, and it's like they've been 2.5 for 5 years. Is that really effective? It may be a nice time for them, but is it effective? And then I'm going to do a little model of transactional approach versus an effective communication cycle. So this is the font's small enough for you. It's okay. Okay, so there's two models. There's this what I call the transactional model. Let me just grab something for a second. One is called the transactional model, and the transactional model is going to be this one. Guess what I got for Christmas? Okay, so the transactional model is this one here, and it's basically the coach and then the tennis knowledge that they have, and then all they do is the person is paid the money, and then they just kind of give it to the student. Okay, so it's a transaction. I'm a coach, I got knowledge, you paid, I give you, here's how you do this, here's how you hit your forehand, your backhand, whatever. But what I'm going to say is this model of communication, a little more complex, but that's more realistic to being effective. There's you, and there's a message you send, but also you have to, what's called encode the message. You have to put it in a way that they're possibly going to understand it. It's kind of like, you know how bad North Americans in English are usually pretty sad when there's someone who doesn't speak their language. Then they talk slower and louder as if that would help you. Like if I was going in Cantonese, like it doesn't matter how much I said it louder, you wouldn't know what the heck I'm talking about, right? So the idea is you have to encode it. When I do my sessions, you will never hear me say words like pronation. I don't say that to people. I don't say the word volume. Oh, you mean my hair can be bigger? What are you talking about? These are coaching words. I encode it, and I try to best I can to be aware to give it into a language that they understand. Then there's your whole channel of how it goes through. They have to decode it, so you got to figure that out. And then also we're going to see about, there's a bunch of noise. There's stuff that's going to get in their way, and you got to be about that. And then there's a feedback loop because you need to clarify, is this whole thing happening? So that's kind of the difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on the court. We're going to sort of see, I need 4 players. So 4 players, grab your racket. David Cox, who's a really good psychologist, worked with a lot of Olympic players. And the quote is, the transfer of learning between 2 situations is directly proportional to the degree that they're identical. So in other words, imagine this is your training session, and here's the tournament the kid plays. This is where the learning, how much is going to transfer. So you did all this work in training, but, and I hear it all the time. You'll see some coach, and they're up here in the viewing area watching their kid. It's like, oh, I can't believe, we did this for the last 6 months, and how come they can't do it? Okay, well, maybe because this is what you did, and then this is what they're in. So hopefully what you're trying to do is something more along those lines. Obviously, a tournament is very difficult to recreate the exact environment, but the more you can get it closer or some system to do that, the better. When I was thinking about what does make coaches effective, sorry, I didn't make you stand there for a second. The other bit was, I actually had a chance to go to Larry's, and I was just observing what they were doing. And I hadn't seen Larry give a lesson in a long time. But to me, having observed, again, thousands of coaches giving lessons, it was like, oh, breath of fresh air. So if you saw like a master doing a painting, there's a lot of levels going on. And a little kid could look at the painting and go, that's pretty. I'm going to embarrass him. A little kid could look at the painting and go, that's pretty. But then someone who's more trained in art goes, oh, but look at the layers, look at the colors, look at the perspective that's there. Like, there's so many levels. And I was watching other lessons that were going on beside what he was doing, but they weren't the same. They weren't effective, as effective as it could be. So this is kind of like, well, what was happening there? And so I'm going to use this little model, and I'm going to say it's kind of like, we can argue the percentages, but 25%. So you're going to present something. You're going to clarify, you're going to have an environment that you have some feedback and repetition, and then you're going to remove some interference. I'm going to say they're each kind of like worth 25% of your whole effective package, and the order's not particularly important. The order's not particularly important. Okay, so I'm going to pick you're going to be non-dominant hand just to have more fun. All right? And I'm going to pick a skill a little different. So here's what I'm gonna say. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna do a little drill, and so you can go to the baseline, one on each side of the center mark. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to hit a lob approach. Okay, we're going to hit a lob approach. We're going to hit a high ball and approach. High ball and approach the net. Hopefully you know this is a negative example right now. Okay. So you ready? High ball and approach the net. So there's the shot, high ball and approach the net. Okay, and then high ball and approach the net. Okay, good. And then you're ready, and then go back down the center. That's good. And then high ball and approach the net. High ball and approach the net. Okay, and good. All right. Now, so if we take the first 25%, this was the part of presenting, but it was actually not even 25%, and it wasn't very complete. So hopefully you can see there's some gaps in this thing that I just did. So I definitely wasn't following the effectiveness model that I'm talking about. So when I'm presenting it, what would be some of the gaps that occurred when I presented? I mean, I told them what to do. Isn't that coaching? Just tell people what to do. Okay, so number one, I didn't show them what it looks like. So when I presented it, what do we need to do is you should have a visual demo. And it's so often, especially if kids are coming over and over again, how the coach goes in their head, you know what, that's a lot of wasted time. But someone who hasn't, and you haven't encoded well and they haven't decoded well, that's the waste of time. It's not the waste of time, oh, they didn't get enough hitting. If they're hitting but they just have no clue, they're just literally doing what you said. They're not hitting a shot for themselves that they're going to use in any kind of way that they think they could have it in a tournament or anything. They're just doing what you said. I can make anyone do what I say. I can make all of the kids stand on their head and spin circles and do all sorts of stuff. But that doesn't transform, back to that, the way that they play matches. Just because they do what I say in a lesson does not mean they're going to be okay in matches. And that's what we really like. Wouldn't it be nice if your coaching was about transforming the way they played tennis? Not doing a drill better, but transforming the way that they actually play tennis. So what does that mean? What do they need for that? Well, they need to believe it. They need to understand it. They need to have it. So tell me why I did this. Okay, so today what we're going to do, now I could have observed them and done all this stuff, but I'm cutting that out and I'm just saying you're following curriculum. This was week 23 or whatever, and this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so sometimes we're rallying the baseline, and if you know that if you come in to the net, what does that do tactically to your opponent? Takes time away from them, which is great. And if you come to the net, do you want them all set up to like blow it by you, or would you like to put them in some trouble? Trouble would be good. Well, you know, a really good shot is if I do a high shot, and imagine that person's at the baseline. How are they receiving that ball? What happens when you're here and you get a high shot? How do you receive it? Yeah, you're probably going to back up. Are you going to receive it high or at perfect level? Probably high. Okay? Have you ever seen people be able to like passing shot from up there? No. So if you can do that high ball and come in, look at that, right on the line, huh? Then they're going to hit a high ball, and you're going to be right here, and you can just tap it to the other side, and you've got it. So a lob approach, it feels like, ooh, why would I do that? It's setting them up, but actually it makes their life pretty difficult. All right, so come on up. And now what's going to happen is I'm going to give you the ball. You'll do your lob approach. Are you more in a way to cut off their angles if you do a cross court or if you put it down the line? What do you think? So if she does a cross court, I mean, I might be able to pop it down the line, but if you hit it down the line, right away you can come up in my way. So let's go down the line. And what we'll say is when your ball bounces, I'm just going to hold my racket up, even get it over my shoulder. Yeah, okay. Here it is, Philip. And here it is. Okay? A little bit high. Alright, so Philip, okay, you can keep the top spin, just watch if your racket opens too much, it's going to go too high. So here we go. And again, get it bouncing up, not quite high enough. That one, high but a little shorter. Let's keep it a little bit deeper. That was like, that's going to put trouble in for sure. Am I going to be able to pass it easy like that? No way. Nicely done, Philip. That was a good shot. That's it. Look back. Up there. That's a flat ball. Okay, thanks for the drop shot. That's nice for the comment. Okay, here we go. Now you can pitch the next one. Ooh. Now, are you trying to spin it a lot or halfway or what? Okay, so just back off on the spin, because it's actually not the top spin that will make it bounce high, it's the fact of how high it is, yeah. So here we go. Come on in. That's it. Oh, okay, a little more down the line, but that's the right height. Okay, here we go. Come on in. Nice. Okay, yeah, still bouncing high. You can still go even higher than that, but that's it. But then, as I was presenting, I was clarifying. What did you hear some of the things I was doing to help clarify?
That's the right height.
Okay, so trying to make a measurable item. What's the right height that's going to get them in trouble? Good. And what does that do in their head? Why is that helpful? Yeah, it just gives them an exact target and a goal. It gives you a goal. I mean, so often I'll see drills and I don't know what the goal is aside from following through. Is that a goal? That's not a goal. I don't know what that goal is. Turning your hips, that's not a goal. Okay, that's something you could do, but it has to do something. It has to make you, how does it connect it to you playing better? Well, this is going to do something to your opponent. So then they start to go, oh, okay, that's all right. What else was I doing in clarifying? Anything else? Okay, clarifying. Okay, how do you move your racket in body in order to do the thing that you're supposed to do? But again, it's connected. It's not Philip. Move like this. It's like, well, if you do this, it'll make the ball go the way that you want to go to make that life miserable for that guy. Okay. Any other pieces in clarifying?
The whole intent of the shot.
Yeah. So the full intent. The intention of the shot is there. What do you think about their belief? Did I change it from the first time that I went and presented? Yes? Wow, you can't tell, huh? Okay. Yeah, okay, so let's ask the real students. Okay, so why was it different when I started just said, well, just hit that, and then compared to the second time that I did it?
On the second time, we had a purpose, and then so we felt more confident in what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
The first one was very bad.
But isn't that interesting? Because you had a purpose, I felt. Isn't that interesting? I felt. You ever ask your students, okay, what do they feel? Or is it like, I don't care what they feel. Couldn't care less. I'm just telling them to do a certain move. It's like, but what the value is, I felt more confident. I felt like I had a clear goal. I felt. That's the goal, because you're teaching, just like Larry's thing, you're teaching, well, actually, I'll shift it and go, effective coach is not teaching people tennis, okay, or teaching tennis to people. It's helping, okay, people learn what they need to do to play, which is a whole different thing than teaching tennis. Helping people learn how to play better is not the same as teaching people tennis. Not the same at all. All right, so now let's do this. Tell you what, Dominic, you're down in this end. Now we'll try to make this one go in a second. Hold on. Try to make this one a little bit better. All right. Okay. All right, and what's going to happen is this. One up at a time, the other two back in the back wall. If you win, you take over this position here. And all I'm going to do is give you the shot, you hit your approach, and let's see if you can get him in trouble. Here we go. Okay. Not quite trouble, but but you got it anyway. Switch it up. Run. Okay. Did you make him hit what type did you hit that? With the arrow, yeah. So maybe hit a little higher. Here we go. And go. Look at that. Okay. Oh! Go, yeah! All right. I know, you quit. Okay. The other thing is, if you were backing up, what else might you do? Okay? If you got that high ball and you're backing up, what else would you hit a high one or a low one? Try to hit a low one from up there? Yeah, you might hit a lot. So when you come in, have a cautious approach. Okay? And maybe hang out around the service line, because if he lobs it, you want to be able to get it too. Alright, so here we go. Keeping and knocking down. Go. Oh, look at that. Oh, and that's, now, can you do that? Can you whip a passing shot on the ride? The answer is yes. How, out of 10 shots, how often do you think you'd be able to win that point doing that? Not often, right? So don't worry about it. It was a tough shot and he made it. Maybe he's confident. Here we go. 2 more. Oh, I love it. Still going. Ah! You were so set up well, but you need. How do I know I need to clarify, by the way? Yeah, exactly. Just, can you look at them? Can you look like coaches are so busy about what they need to do that they're not present for their students. They're worried about what they need to do. They're not present for their students. But just look at them and you'll see, that guy doesn't believe me at all. This person thinks that shot is stupid. And then so what that they go through the lesson? They're never going to transform. It's never going to do anything for them. So that is the clarifying. Okay? And then the environment, again, you're just setting it up so there can be repetition, and that you're trying to move it into more match play, so the situation should progress. You shouldn't end with a drill, like it's just all drilling the whole session, and then play at the end, and it's not connected to anything. So I mean, the typical session worldwide looks like this. You know, you do your physical warm-up, you drill. You take a few serves at the end and you play some points and it's not connected to anything. Instead of going, no, maybe have a session that's connected all the way through to what they want to do. Removing interference, what does that mean? How do I remove interference? What noises could be in the way for them doing the shot?
They don't have a feel for it.
Maybe they don't have a feel for it. Like we said earlier, don't
they don't
believe in it.
The shots,
and that's a big one, right? Don't believe it. You know, do it because the coach said so. I'm not going to transform. I don't care if you're right. You being right as the coach. I mean, sometimes that will happen. You know, I'll observe a coach. They'll do something. You know, it's not transforming the player. The player's not using it. They don't believe in it at all. And then I ask the coach, well, so what's the disconnect? And they go, no, but I'm right. Who cares? Like, honestly, who cares? Like, it's not relevant. You're paid to do something which is not just a transaction. All right? So then, what happens is, I like this little thing, an average coach invites compliance. I can make you do what I want. You just comply. Right? A good coach invites commitment. Okay, I'm going to put some commitment again. But just like Larry's presentation, an effective coach, they invite belief. So as you go through your week, can you go, are they believing? Is there a way that I can increase their believing? And then confidence, motivation, inspiration, belief are all hallmarks of effective coaching. And again, it's not just the skill. Like, it's not just about you teaching the tennis. It's about you interacting with the person to help them to learn tennis. And a lot of the things, some of our challenges, coaches, some of our challenges is the fact that you don't take lessons in anything. Go take a lesson in guitar. Go learn how to swim. Go do something, and all of a sudden, you'll become concerned not with the skill, like we are when we coach tennis. All of a sudden, you'll go, ooh, I don't care if that person was an expert and knew all the skill. It doesn't matter. Like, ooh, I didn't like the way that they interacted with me. It didn't help me to learn. And you'll start to see what the experience looks like from the receiving side. And last key points, stop teaching. Stop it. Stop teaching. Right? And start helping players to learn. Big difference. Big difference. This is my favorite quote. I don't remember anything I was ever taught. I don't even remember what I learned. How many things have you been taught in your life? Tons. How much did you actually learn? Only the stuff that I felt was relevant to me. That's what I took. Teaching is too easy to twist it to be about you. Learning is all about them. That's the difference. Coaches who take 100% responsibility for delivering their message are more effective. Is that fair? Could there be problems with the person? Yes. But let's not have a blame the victim mentality. Take 100% responsibility for your coaching landing and not just blame the players. Okay, Star Wars geeks, here's the test. Anakin Skywalker was becoming Darth Vader. He's in a battle with his master, and his master says to him, the line is, Anakin, I have failed you. What? He's the one that chose to be Darth Vader. He's the one that's killing people. He's the one that's making all that stuff. But the Jedi Master's going, I've failed you. He was taking 100% responsibility for landing it. Doesn't mean it's going to work, and yes, there'll be issues, but I still take the responsibility. I still take the responsibility. Okay, into your groups. First, go back to the same groups that you were in.